Detective Recapped here. Today I'm going to explain an American teen romantic comedy film called Easy A. Considered to be the definitive high school millennial movie, Easy A is as important to its generation as films like The Breakfast Club were to their corresponding era. Even if you didn't spend weeks pretending to be the school tramp, the story remains relatable with how it deals with age-old issues like gossip, bullying, promiscuity, isolation, and conformity. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Ojai North High School is home to one of the most notoriously unreliable grapevines of communication in the state of California, and this predicament is made worse and forever perpetuated by the hormonally supercharged, emotionally confused, and malicious members of society, teenagers. Among its latest victims is the poor 17-year-old girl named Olive Pendergast. Lately, she's been fending off wave after wave of slanderous rumors about her highly exaggerated promiscuity. Olive herself narrates the entire thing in front of a webcam as a full-on, unabridged confession of her side of the story, starting with Part 1. The shudder-inducing and cliched, however totally false account of how I lost my virginity to a guy at community college. Olive's best friend is a tardy, young blonde named Rhiannon Abernathy. One Friday morning after class, Rhiannon invites Oliver to her parents' house for the weekend. However, Olive does not like this idea since she finds Rhiannon's hippie parents strange because they'd frequently go around stark naked and cook unidentifiable food. So, in order to get out of this potential situation, Olive makes an excuse that she has a date. In truth, for the next 2 days, Olive would be spending her time slowly but surely becoming obsessed with Natasha Bedingfield's Pocketful of Sunshine. Great song. When the weekend's over, Rhiannon interrogates Olive about her date. Even though she doesn't say anything, Rhiannon assumes that she lost her virginity to this guy she was talking about. Unbeknownst to Rhiannon, the guy is completely fictional. Since Rhiannon won't rest until Olive admits it, Olive doubles down instead and tells her a steamy account of an affair that isn't real. Unfortunately, during their private conversation in the bathroom, someone else is in one of the cubicles listening to them. The girl who heard the whole thing is Marianne Bryant, the local Miss Goody Two-Shoes who's unreasonably filled with righteous contempt. Marianne harshly judges Olive for what she told Rhiannon, but it isn't enough for Marianne to unfairly pass judgment on someone she doesn't truly know. She has to make things infinitely worse for Olive by spreading the rumor that Olive is a complete hoe. Like most interesting stories, Olive's kicked off because if she was an RPG character, she'll start off with low stats on decision-making. There are a dozen other excuses that she could have made, and 99% of them don't need to involve a guy, and the other 1% can involve a male relative. Granted, they're not as juicy, and Olive got carried away since it's her first time feeling superior to her self-proclaimed superho best friend. But either way, Sister Marianne, as Rhiannon likes to call her, should mind her own business. Part 2. The accelerated velocity of terminological inexactitude. With the rumor spreading like wildfire, Olive is forced to confront Marianne about it to try and reverse or mitigate the false accusations. However, Marianne remains staunchly opposed to Olive, who, in her judgmental eyes, is irredeemable for her quote-unquote sins. Because of her nasty attitude, Olive isn't inclined to respect her either. At this point, Olive remembers another rumor that was spread about her back when she was younger. She had been stuck in a room with Todd in a game of 7 Minutes in Heaven. However, Todd was uncomfortable about the whole thing and asked Olive if he could tell everyone that they kissed even though they didn't. Olive agreed, but that was wildly inconsequential compared to the rumor that's going around now, where she's being slandered as the school tramp. Back at home, Olive hints to her parents and her adoptive younger brother about the scandal going on. Being enormously compassionate, hilarious, and loving, Olive's parents don't pry on anything that she does not want to share, but remain open to her if she needs help. With the entire school on Olive's neck, it'd be a shame if she came home to an unpleasant family. But fortunately, we're just given one drama at a time to deal with, because her parents are candidates for the Best Movie Parents Ever award. They don't go commando around their house like Rhiannon's folks do. They're endearing in their own way and are still very open to their children. One afternoon, Olive's favorite teacher, Mr. Griffith, delivers a lecture about The Scarlet Letter, a famous and important work of literature by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Midway through Mr. Griffith's lecture, one of Marianne's underlings named Nina make a demeaning comment about the main character of the book and, of course, Olive. Ever feisty, Olive retorts with an even stronger and more effective remark. This altercation has earned her a trip to the principal's office and, later, detention. The novel is thematically parallel to Olive's story because it also involves slanderous rumors about a woman's purity. She's judged harshly by her rigidly religious community and was forced to wear a large red letter A on her person at all times. Sadly, the A didn't stand for A+, it stood for adultery. Afterwards, Olive has a brief encounter with Todd, who asks her if she'll be going to an upcoming party before informing her that he won't be able to go because of a rehearsal dinner for a cousin's wedding. Later, Olive tries to tell Rhiannon that she didn't really do it with that guy and that it was all made up, but Rhiannon doesn't believe her. During detention, Olive is subjected to manual labor. She's accompanied by a friend of hers named Brandon, who's regularly bullied at school for being gay. During their time together, Olive suggests to Brandon that he should either completely and totally deny his true identity or stop caring about it at all. Sadly, Olive isn't the only one subjected to bullying, but that's high school for you. It's a cesspool of teenagers who are all too ready to band together and pick on a common target for no other reason than the fact that said target doesn't fit into their binary way of looking at things. Then again, many people never grow out of that mindset, and that's why the world's a pretty toxic place. Part 3. A lady's choice and a gentleman's agreement. Olive's suggestion brews an idea in Brandon's head. During one visit to the Pendergast residence, Brandon proposes that Olive should pretend to be his girlfriend as a way to convince people that he's straight. Initially, Olive doesn't agree to this, but Brandon tells her that he's heavily tormented at school and that he's being bullied every single day. With that, Olive changes her mind and sets out to pull a grand display that'll convince the entire school. That weekend, Olive and Brandon hit up Melody Bastick's party, which is the same one that Todd mentioned earlier. They make a scene by bumbling about arm in arm in a false drunken stupor. As the two stumble and stagger, every person in the party could see them enter a private room. There, Olive and Brandon do their best moaning sounds and make sure to make the bed creak back and forth to convince the entire party that they were doing it. After the show's over, Brandon earns the respect of his male peers and is no longer subjected to their abusive behavior. However, for Olive, more and more people are starting to disrespect her as many boys in the party are making jeering gestures while she's talking to Todd, one of the few decent friends Olive has. We all know where this is going, but it needs to be said. The scene is a shining example of how differently girls and boys are treated when it comes to promiscuity. Boys are pressured if they're not getting laid, and they're celebrated if they are. A lot of people tie a boy's self-esteem to whether or not he's reeling girls in, even if the boy's uninterested and has a lot more to offer. Meanwhile, girls are bashed, disrespected, and slandered if they dare sleep around, even though a girl's business in bed is just that, her business in bed. The boys disrespecting her are even more bizarre because who do they think they're sleeping with? Regardless, this toxicity affects boys and girls alike, and it's all sorts of bullshit. Back at home, Olive's mother hands Brandon's gift to Olive, which is a token of gratitude for helping him out. That same night, Rhiannon calls her, and she's upset because of Olive's new reputation as a dirty skank and the fact that Olive never told her that she was going to that party and that she was going to sleep with Brandon. Their exchange escalates into a fight, and after the frustrating call, Olive's left spiteful. In turn, she revolts against her peers' cruel judgment by embracing the reputation they've given her on her own terms. She sews a red letter A onto all her provocative outfits as an allusion to the Scarlet Letter. Just then, her supportive father comes into her room to ask if she's okay. Despite their permissive style of parenting, it's implied that her parents have an idea of what's going on. While they're always ready to shower her with support, jokes, and all sorts of wackiness, they still give her the space and room to deal with things in her own way. The following day at school, Olive makes a striking entrance wearing a tight outfit with a red letter A sewn on it. Naturally, Marianne's church group is raging over this, and this garners the attention of the whole school. This even raises concerns in Mr. Griffith, who genuinely cares for his student. One afternoon, Olive's reputation spreads even to the victims of bullying. The kids who want a bit of street cred to ward off their hasslers, or even just those who want additional popularity points, head to Olive. They pay her in gift checks to spread rumors that they've slept with her. Olive agrees to some of them, mostly because she pities their hardships. Of course, this only tarnishes her reputation even more. With her sewn letter A, Olive embraces her parallels with Hester from Scarlet Letter, but their similarities don't end there. In the novel, Hester was shown to be endlessly kind to her community in spite of all the slander she's getting. Like her, Olive's letting the oppressed kids on her campus get a break from all the crap they're getting, even if it means suffering from the collateral damage. Then again, monetizing the rumor mill is a pretty smart move too. Part 4. How I, Olive Pendergast, went from assumed trollop to an actual homewrecker. Olive's precarious situation becomes even more unstable when Marianne's boyfriend, Micah, catches an STD from the local guidance counselor, Mrs. Griffith. Mrs. Griffith is married to Mr. Griffith, Olive's favorite teacher. So in the heat of the moment, Micah tells his mother that Olive's the one who gave him the disease. His mom tells Marianne's mom, who then tells her daughter, who then tells the entire school. In a confounding emotional encounter with Olive, Mrs. Griffith apologizes to her and tells her she'll set the record straight and come clean, though she makes sure to mention that she'll lose her job in the process. Moved, Olive volunteers to take the blame because she wants to keep Mr. Griffith from losing his marriage. Mrs. Griffith agrees, and this eventually leads to even more people saying terrible things about Olive. What hurts her the most is that even her best friend Rhiannon has joined the hate group dedicated to bashing her. During one emotional afternoon, Todd tries to approach Olive and make her feel better, but Olive is too hurt to receive any consolation. That same afternoon, Olive sets out to town trying to find an open church. She mainly wants to learn why people hate her so much. She eventually finds herself talking to a pastor, only to be appalled that the pastor is a bit rude to her. Soon enough, she understands why, when she realizes that the pastor is Marianne's father. Upon discovering this, Olive runs for the hills. Now more than ever, Olive's conflating kindness with zero decision-making skills. Olive is already knee-deep in her social pariah business, and she doesn't need any incriminating accusations on top of them. Mrs. Griffith and Micah could have huddled and thought of a better excuse that doesn't actively harm someone, or better yet, they could have owned up to their mistakes. Especially Mrs. Griffith. Back at home, Olive's parents are growing more and more worried about her. However, she refuses to tell them the whole truth. Olive then reflects on the Scarlet Letter once again, and she realizes that Hester handled the entire situation in humble silence. This doesn't sit well with Olive, who's trying to find a more robust solution. At this point, Olive's starting to feel sad because despite her reputation, she's not seeing anyone at all. She feels lonely about how she's never been asked on a real date. This is when a boy named Anson asks her out. They head over to the Lobster Shack, and Olive is over the moon since she's finally dating someone, and that someone still likes her despite everything that's been said about her. During that dinner, she finds out that Todd is actually working at the Lobster Shack. As if that wasn't enough, she also spots Rhiannon. This causes her to panic because Rhiannon has had a crush on Anson for the longest time, and she's worried that Rhiannon might feel betrayed if she finds out they're on a date. Olive takes Anson to escape, but she's not successful in averting Rhiannon's gaze. It says a lot about Olive as a person that she still respects Rhiannon even though she had betrayed her. It wasn't very long ago when Rhiannon stood among the crowd who rallied against her. For all of Olive's spitefulness and feistiness, she's still a very empathetic person, and that's constantly being highlighted in almost all of her ventures. After leaving Lobster Shack, Anson comes on to Olive since he thinks that the rumors about her selling her body are true. He gives her a gift card and kisses her. Disgusted, Olive tries to explain that the rumors aren't real. She throws the gift card back at him, making Anson storm off in a rage. Poor Olive is left alone, and she's about to walk home by herself. Suddenly, from out under the streetlight, Todd emerges and offers her a car ride home. During the drive, the two of them express their fondness for each other. Todd tells Olive that he didn't believe any of the rumors that he heard about her. He notes that this is because he remembered the time when Olive agreed to let him tell everyone that they had kissed, even though he was too afraid to actually do it. And look at Olive now. She graduated from being kissed to being touched as far as rumors go. That moment left an impression on Todd, and from then on, he started liking her. By the end of the night, Todd confesses that he wanted to date her. However, Olive refuses because she wants to sort her mess out first. Todd respects her decision, but he offers to help her deal with the situation so she won't have to face it alone. Olive leaves Todd's car that night with a renewed sense of hope for people because of Todd's kindness. Though Olive's misguided kindness is what's led to her deeper ostracization, it's also her kindness that came through for her when she needed it the most. In a world that sees Olive for the rumors surrounding her and not for who she actually is, there's still someone who's willing to see past that and look at Olive for how he actually remembers her to be. In an attempt to salvage what's left of her reputation, Olive tries to look for Brandon and have him confess to everyone that the initial rumor of the two of them doing it was not true. However, Brandon has skipped town and is nowhere to be found. Olive then tries to ask the many others who she helped, but none of them agreed, including Mrs. Griffith, who downplays her own mistake as an indiscretion while calling Olive a liar. When Olive tells her outright to tell the truth, get fired, and go to jail, Mrs. Griffith vehemently insists that Mike is of age and being 21 in 8 months is perfectly legal in California since she looked it up. Then she uses some intimidation tactics on Olive by asking her who everyone will believe: the pseudo-school tramp or her, the guidance counselor. Enraged by her behavior, Olive rashly rushes to Mr. Griffith and drops the bomb on him that his wife gave Mike an STD and is making her take the blame for it. Admittedly, Olive regrets this, and if there's one thing she regrets, it's the way she told this to Mr. Griffith and the way she ruined the marriage of the teacher she respects and admires the most. Finally, Olive tells all of this to her mother, who sympathizes with her and reveals that she was in a similar situation back then, only that she actually slept around since she had a low sense of self-worth. Still, she assures her daughter that she's going to pull through with her smarts and sense of humor. This just goes to show that girls getting hounded for their sexuality is a tale as old as time. It's even turned into a generational problem for the Pendergast women, who both seem to have low sense of selves. If we're to update Olive's stats, she'll score 0 on self-preservation and abysmally high on martyrdom for the downtrodden. Still, with everything blown out of proportion, it's finally time to clear her name. Part 5. Not with a fizzle, but with a bang. Olive hatches a plan to deliver her side of the story to the entire campus. During a pre-basketball game pep rally, woodchuck costume-wearing Todd pushes a wheelbarrow full of logs. With the entire school watching, Olive emerges from the pile, and she's wearing her final piece of provocative outfit. Finally, after endlessly pining for a musical number of her own, Olive gets to have her song and dance number to get the school's attention. After her scandalous performance, Olive invites everyone to watch her web show where there's a supposed live recording of her and Todd doing it. When the principal tries taking her away, she diverts his attention to Mrs. Griffith before skedaddling with Todd. Later, it's revealed that the entire narration is the very same webcast that Olive promised. There's no footage of her and Todd doing it, this is just her way of coming clean. Although she admits that she likes Todd a lot and she'd probably lose her virginity to him, she emphasizes that it isn't anybody else's business. She then joins Todd outside, who's waiting for her with a set of speakers playing the song Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds. They share a kiss and hop on board a lawnmower that Todd brought. And in an allusion to the 80s movie that Olive loves so much, the film ends with a still shot of the two lovers with their fists in the air. This movie is a hearty coming-of-age story about how harsh and cruel life can be, especially life in high school, which is a breeding ground for bullying and rumors. Whether we like it or not, the grapevine is the lifeblood of information, and nothing spurs rumors more than someone who doesn't conform to the norms and expectations. Many of us choose to react to bad rumors by ignoring them. Some of us fight back, and some of us take it to heart more than others. But in the film, we see Olive handling it with a particular kind of ferocity. She attempts to reclaim her identity by removing the power that rumors and ostracization have over her by embracing them and even wearing her scarlet A like a badge of honor. She turns her quote-unquote punishment into an avenue of kindness for her by using her status to help the other outcasts of her school. Though in doing so, she initially fed into the very system that shunned them until she flipped the script. In her own words, you've got to do everything you can to blend in or decide not to care. And sometimes in life, blending in, being kind, and having a sense of humor are enough. At the end of the day, these rumors will eventually stop mattering. To know that there are good people in your life who truly care about you is more important above all. Rumors die and people lose interest. But just like Olive and Todd at the end of the movie, we should sow what we want to reap in order to have the things in life that will truly make us happy. Oh, and a little trivia. Olive's last name, Pendergast, spells out pretend shag if you scramble the letters. We'll see you in the next one.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.